Hello and welcome to this Easy Beginners Yoga class. For this sequence, you might like to have 2 yoga blocks and a cushion or a pillow. We're going to begin by coming into a seated position. So if your hips are feeling rather tight today, sit up on your cushion so that your knees are below your hip level. Now wherever you are, inhaling deep into the belly and exhaling out the nose. Now bringing the hands together at heart center, we're going to interlace the fingers. Inhale to rise up through the arms, stretching your palms to the sky and your pelvis down to the ground, creating as much length in the spine as possible. Now float the right hand down to the mat, reach over with your left arm and drop the weight into your left hip, creating your side stretch. Inhale to rise back up, softly resting your left hand on the right side of your head and reaching your right fingers out long on the mat. Try not to pull down with the hand, just letting it softly rest on your head. Sitting up tall again and bringing your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind your body and gazing over your left shoulder. Keeping your spine tall and try not to pull into this stretch with your arms, twisting from the center to gaze behind you. Coming back around into the center, inhale, rising the arms up tall, and then exhaling your left hand to the mat and reaching overhead with your right arm. Inhale to rise slowly back up, this time bringing the right hand to the left side of the head and reaching long with your left arm. Now coming up straight, this time bringing the left hand to your right knee. Your right hand moves behind you and you're gazing over your right shoulder. Taking a few deep breaths here. Now coming into a tabletop position, shifting the legs behind, and your hands will be shoulder width apart and your fingers spread wide. Your index finger or your middle finger will be pointing forward depending on whatever feels best for your body. And we're going to turn our abs on here, so engage into those muscles. On the inhale, dropping your belly, looking up. And as you exhale, curling through the spine, stretching out that upper back. Inhale, dropping the belly, opening through the chest. And exhale, creating space between your shoulders. Inhale, dropping the belly, looking up. And exhaling, curling through your spine. Coming back into a neutral position, extending the right leg to the back of the mat and drop your heel to the floor to stretch out the calf. Now pressing into the hands, creating as much space as possible as you lift your right knee to your chest. Maybe coming up onto the fingers to step it through in between your hands. Coming into your low lunge, we'll inhale, open up through the chest, and exhale to extend your right leg, micro bend the knee and fold from the hips. Inhale, coming forward, opening through the chest. And exhale, sending the hips back and moving your chest towards your toes. Again, inhale, looking forward. And exhale, sending the hips back, stretching through your thigh. Inhale to move forward and floating your arms up into the sky, rolling those armpits in towards you and reaching up with your fingertips. Floating the hands to frame the front right foot and stepping back into your tabletop. Moving to the left side, extending your left foot towards the back of the mat, releasing your left calf, and then pressing down through the hands, creating as much space as you lift your left knee to your chest and placing it in between your hands. Inhale to look forward, and exhale to straighten the left leg, micro bend the knee and bend from the hips. Inhale, coming forward, opening the chest. And exhale, sending the hips back, stretching through your left thigh. Last one, inhale, coming forward. And exhale, releasing those hips. Inhale, coming forward into your low lunge and floating your arms up to the sky. On an inhale, reach tall. And on an exhale, sink further into those hips. Framing the left foot with your hands, curling the right toes and using the back leg to spring yourself up into a forward fold. Making sure your feet are hip distance apart, which is 2 fists in between your big toes. Your knees are generously bent and your back and head are hanging heavy. Maybe swaying from side to side to release the lower back. And keeping those legs bent as you roll up vertebra by vertebra, slowly coming into Tadasana, our mountain pose, rolling those shoulders back and down. Inhaling to raise the arms up ahead, palms touch together. And exhaling to swan dive down with a flat back. Inhale to halfway lift, hands to the shins, your back is flat and neck is long. And exhaling to fold forward. Floating the right foot to the back of the mat, parallel the foot and then shift that back heel a little bit further towards the back of the room, making sure that your left ankle is in line with the arch of your right foot and with strong legs rising up into your warrior two. Your left knee is tracking over your left ankle. Your hips will be facing the right corner of the mat and rotate your chest to the side, relaxing through your shoulders and maybe sinking deeper into the pose. Now straighten your front leg, leaning forward, bringing your left hand to your left shin and floating your right hand to the sky. This is an active pose, so try not to dump your weight into your left hand and lift up so you could almost touch the roof with your fingertips. Now rising up a bit out of the pose, bending through the left knee, your left elbow to left thigh and extending your right arm up and overhead. Rotating the armpit towards the face and opening your chest towards the sky. Now bringing the hands to the mat, walking to the center, parallel the feet. You might like to have 2 yoga blocks here to rest your hands on. Or if you have more space, micro bend the knees and bend forward from the hips as you relax your torso and your head. Maybe rise the shoulders up a little bit to create space around the neck and let gravity do the work for you. Inhale to your halfway lift, coming up on the fingertips with a long back, and then walking the hands towards the back of the mat, turning those right toes forward and the left heel back and down. Strong legs, inhale into your warrior two. Relax the shoulders and reaching both fingers in opposite directions. Maybe sink down into those hips a little bit more. Now keeping your hips facing in the direction that they are, inhale to straighten through the right leg, micro bend the knee, lean forward, right hand to right shin and left hand reaches up, opening your chest to the sky. If your neck is feeling really tight today, you can just continue looking at the floor. Inhale to rise up a little bit And then bend through that right leg, right hand to right thigh, and reaching up overhead with your left arm. Roll that armpit in towards your face and feeling this line of energy generating from the outside of your left foot, traveling all the way up your left side and out to your fingertips. Floating the hands back to the mat, walking into the center, parallel the feet. You can come back onto your blocks if you did last time. Otherwise, you might like to interlace the fingers, bend from the hips, and drop the arms overhead, releasing through the shoulders. Placing the hands back down onto the mat and inhaling into your halfway lift, flat back, and walking the hands back to the front of the mat. Drop the right knee to the mat and then bring your left leg behind into a half plank. As slow as you can, lower down onto your belly. Coming into a Sphinx pose, bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders, your fingers spread wide, the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat, and you're pulling your hands back to lift your chest forward and up, opening up through the collarbones. Coming back down onto your belly, framing your ribs with your hands and pressing up into your half plank and extending the hips back into child's pose. If you find that your forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can gently rest it on a yoga block in front of you. If you'd like more opening throughout the hips, you can send your knees wide. On an inhale, try walking your fingertips a little bit further forward to create more space. And as you exhale, feeling your hips sink towards your heels. Using the hands to walk back up onto a seated position, shifting the feet to the right and extending your right leg out to the side. The left sole of your foot will come into your right thigh and then just open up the hips a little bit. Bring the right elbow to the right thigh and reaching up overhead with your left arm. If you find you have a little bit more space, you can bring your right elbow down to the mat. Inhaling to come back up, shifting both legs out in front of you. If you have tight hamstrings, making sure you take a generous bend in the knees and folding from the hips as you reach forward. Your chest should be extending towards your toes, and only at the last moment do you soften your head down. We want to feel the stretch in the belly of our muscles, so if you're feeling any discomfort or tension around your joints, and especially in this pose around your knees, make sure to come out of it a little bit and bend a little bit more into your knees. Now rising back up straight and moving to the other side, so bringing your right sole of your foot in towards your left thigh and then opening up the hips. Your left elbow to left thigh and right arm reaches overhead. You might like to open your chest towards the sky, and if you have a little bit more room, again dropping that elbow down to the mat. Softening into the body and relaxing into the pose. Inhale to rise back up, and then bringing both feet out in front of you with your knees bent. Your arms extend long at shoulder height and slowly roll down vertebra by vertebra until you're lying flat on your back. Coming into a twist, we're going to shift our hips over to the right and drop our knees over to the left. Cactus the arms and gaze over the right shoulder. If you'd like more of a stretch, you can bring your right leg to the outside of your left and drop the knees to the floor. Try to relax and soften the right shoulder so it's flat on the floor. Now bringing the knees back into center, we're going to shift our hips over to the left and drop our knees to the right. Gaze is over to the left and taking whatever variation you took on the other side. The reason that we move our hips to the opposite side before twisting is it takes that twist out from the lower back, the lumbar spine where we want to remain stable and strong, and moves it more into the thoracic spine, the middle of our back where we have a little bit more flexibility. Now floating your knees back up to center, extending your feet out to the bottom corners of the mat, your hands by your sides, palms facing up, and start to relax all the muscles in your body. Softening through the face, releasing any tension between the eyebrows, softening through your jaw, and feeling the ground holding and supporting your weight. Taking a deep breath here, in through the nose, and exhaling in a sigh out through the mouth. Again, inhaling into the belly, and exhaling out through the mouth, releasing any tension. As our lives seem to be full of a lot of distraction and constant movement, it can sometimes feel really invigorating to just move your body slowly and pay attention to the present moment. So make sure to spend as much time as you need in this Shavasana. Thank you for practicing with me today, and I hope to see you next time.